Me 25 male with my wife 23 female. She informs me at sister's wedding she had slept with best man long. The time frame is important here. We have been married for 3 years. We were together as a couple for 2 years before that. So we've been together for about 5 years. 2 weekends ago her sister got married and of course my wife was in the wedding party. So as you would expect she spent the 2 weeks prior to the wedding helping her sister get everything ready. No big deal at all. She kept me informed and I knew this was going to happen. She took that Wednesday Friday off of work to help her and in fact stayed with her 3 days. I certainly know her sister but I barely know the guy who is now my brother-in-law. In fact only met him a few times but he seems nice enough. I show up Saturday morning a few hours before the ceremony in hopes of stealing just a few minutes to see her. Not wanting to intrude on the day since I know she is busy but I hadn't seen her since Tuesday. She sees me outside of her parents' house and sends her brother out to tell me that she will come out and see me at the car. Which I thought was odd but whatever. She finally comes out and sits in the seat next to me and gives me a kiss but instead of acting happy to see me or whatever she tells me that she has to talk to me and she doesn't want it to ruin her sister's day. She informs me that at the reception if I still want to go I might hear some things about the best man and her and she didn't want it to be awkward or weird. I just kind of sat there stunned. She said that about 4 years ago she had a fling with him and that it didn't mean anything but she was aware that by nature I am somewhat jealous and she wanted me to know in advance so that if I heard something that I wouldn't be surprised. Again I just kind of sat there. This was not how I thought my morning would go but I told her I appreciated knowing it and that it certainly wasn't a big deal now. She went back in the house and I went to eat lunch and decided to meet her at the church. As I am eating and reading my phone it dawns on me. She said she had a fling with him 4 years ago and we've been together 5. My first reaction was to blow it off and think that she just told me the wrong time but the more I thought about it the more I started to remember about a year and a half of us being together she had a phase where she was really sketchy about her behavior. Wasn't available when she normally was and went on 2 weekend camping trips that were with friends from work. Of course I am a little knotted up over this but I know I have a long day ahead of me. I go to the wedding and sit there watching everything. After the wedding they have a line that you walk by and congratulate the bride and groom and the wedding party is standing in line as well. My wife is standing with some other guy I don't know him at all but the best man was there and I just went down the line and acted like no big deal. Get to the reception and it takes forever for them to come because of photos. She finally gets there and sits with me. I decided not to say anything as I didn't want to distract from the day. But instead of just letting it go she then tells me that each of the groomsmen and bridesmaids are going to dance and that she is going to be dancing with him. I ask why when she was not his partner for the party and she said that the maid of honor and her partner were actually married and wanted to dance with each other. At this point I am a little more than perturbed but I try and not let it show. Thankfully I was smart enough to not drink because I freely admit I am an angry drunk so I know when not to even partake. She talks to everyone around her and then the dance comes and he comes over and extends his arm and she gets up. I try not to watch. And in fact I make it a point not to. She comes back with him in tow and they are joking like the best of friends. She decides that it would be a good idea to introduce us and while I didn't say to duck off like I wanted to my greeting to him was probably been cordial. But it did not deter him from sitting and talking with her for a few minutes. The more they sat and talked and reminisced about old times and places the madder I got. Eventually I got up and went to the bathroom and when I came back he was gone. She decided to tell me that she thought I was rude which was not what I was all about hearing at the moment. I told her that this wasn't the time or place to talk about it but rest assured we would talk later. She sat there and then said that she was going to change clothes. And as soon as she got back she was telling her sister that we were leaving because I had ruined her day but she didn't want me to ruin her sister's day as well. I told her that I was perfectly capable of not being a bother to her or her sister the rest of the day and that I did not want to be the cause of any drama so I would prefer to just stay. She went and changed clothes and then came back all in a huff. Now understand I have not said a word to her I even shook the other guy's hand. I guess I just looked miserable so that is what she was basing this off of. She was adamant about not staying and so I said that if she really wanted to go we could go but if she would rather stay I would be happy to stay or if she would like since I came in my own car I would leave so she could stay. She at first said that we should stay but then said if I couldn't act any better I should leave. I asked how I was acting and she said it was obvious I was trying to be like a silverback gorilla wanting to fight. I didn't know whether to laugh in her face or be offended. I went back in and sat down while she mingled with the other guest. I talked with her brother for a while but then ultimately ended up back at our table talking with her grandma. We leave at the same time and I arrived home just before she did. I was sitting in the living room waiting on her when she came in and did not beat around the bush. I simply asked her to retell me the story about this other guy and she said it word for word like before. After sitting and looking at her for a time I just said, "Are you sure about the time frame?" and she said she was. I then reminded her that we had been together for 5 years so this fling was well over a year into our being together. What happened next I can't really put into words. Instead of being flustered or denying or anything she simply said, "I know." So I asked her to explain, and she tells me that they worked together and that it was just a physical thing, and she felt like we weren't in a great place at the time and that she never had any feelings for him and never had any real intentions of leaving me. She just was having some fun for a few weekends. She said that it was probably a mistake on her part to tell me now, but she didn't want me to get blindsided. I did not take this the way she thought I would, I guess. We had a very large argument and ended when she told me I was being a child about all of this. That we were married and this happened way before that, and our life together now has nothing to do with him or that time. Well, two things. One, I adamantly disagree about this, has no bearing on us. She ducking cheated on me and doesn't even have the goddamn decency to feel guilty about it. Two, I hate being told I am childish when I get upset over something. It pisses me off to no end because that is her way of acting superior to me. I told her I needed time to think and she told me there was nothing to think about. We loved each other and this didn't change anything. That was 2 weeks ago and I still am not over it. She has been trying the past few days to get me to talk to her, but I admit that for whatever reason I am not viewing her the same as I did before this. Part of me is like that this is stupid. It happened a few years ago and we are married now and there hasn't been any problems at all. But then part of me is like I just found out she cheated on me and it hurts like a mother ducker, and what makes it worse is that instead of trying to understand how I feel, she is trying to guilt me into just not even thinking about it. I don't know what to do. I am sorry for the length. I probably should have cut out some of the wedding stuff, but it all came out at once. Too long. Didn't read. Wife had a fling when she was my girlfriend. Thinks I should just be okay with it, but I am not. She informs me that at the reception if I still want to go I might hear some things about the best man and her, and she didn't want it to be awkward or weird. I just kind of sat there stunned. This is just shitty. She's known throughout her sister's engagement who the best man was going to be and only lays it on you the morning of the wedding. And who is immature enough to gossip about something that happened 4 years ago at someone else's wedding. She comes back with him in tow and they are joking like the best of friends. She decides that it would be a good idea to introduce us, and while I didn't say to duck off like I wanted to, my greeting to him was probably then cordial. I commend you for not making a scene at your sister-in-law's wedding. Even if your wife would have deserved it for this stunt. You get to decide what you're okay with or not. You are validated in being pissed. It's up to you where to go from here. Her nonchalant attitude is completely unacceptable. You say that she cheated on you 1 year into your relationship. And you were married after year 2. Did you ask her to marry you around the time she was cheating on you? Nice of her to leave out the fact she was boning another guy while you were proposing. She introduced him to you, then accused you of acting like a gorilla wanting to fight. To me it sounds like she was hoping you would cause a scene. She also danced with him. Because the mo who should actually dance with the best man was married and wanted to dance with her husband. The irony is lost on OP's wife that she is married to and spurned her husband to dance with that guy. Gets more ducked up the longer you think about it. Second story. My 22 female boyfriend 29 male of 19 months is furious because my brother 24 male spent the night after going out clubbing with me. He's angry that I let another man stay over and I don't know how to react to this situation. Relationships. So my brother and I live in different parts of our country and only really see each other once every few months. He was going to be in my town from last Wednesday until Saturday evening. So we made plans to go clubbing on Friday night with some friends of mine. We hung out and came home around 4 and I only have one bed in my apartment, so my brother crashed on my couch. We both woke up a few hours later, grabbed lunch and went to the airport, and my brother headed back over to where he lives. After that he sent me a text when his flight got in safely, and that was it. Now my boyfriend and I don't live together, but I stay at his place quite often or he'll stay at mine. He usually works 2 weeks in, 2 weeks out, and he came home yesterday morning, so naturally I was pretty excited to see him. I picked him up and we came back to my place. Afterward, while chatting, I mentioned that my brother spent the night at my place and he got kind of weird. I kind of prodded him to tell me what was up because for the life of me I couldn't figure what would cause him to go so quiet and sullen when just 5 minutes before we were having a flowing conversation. He told me it was nothing, so I left it, and then later I asked him again because he was still in a bad mood. He said that he didn't like the idea of another man staying at my place regardless of who it is, and that it will not be happening in future. I got really confused here because it's my brother, sleeping on my couch for one night after we hung out. It's not some stranger or hell, even a guy friend of ours. It's my brother. I laughed it off and said, "You can't be serious. You have to be joking," and he got really angry and left my place. Last night I got an angry text saying that as his girlfriend I have to respect his wishes, and while I get respecting what your so wants, compromise the works. Isn't this ridiculous? I responded asking him why my brother sleeping on my couch was so bad, and he said it just was, and that a proper girlfriend doesn't let other men stay over alone with her, and that it's incredibly disrespectful to him. More confusion for me because again, this isn't some dude I brought home. It's my brother. I tried talking to him after this, but I got a message saying we'll talk when he's composed himself. What am I to do? I really love my boyfriend, but this is just confusing and I don't know how to react. Also, I should note I've never had any other guys alone at my place. Literally only my boyfriend apart from my brother has ever been with me alone there. The only other time guys have been there have been if I have a small group get together, and that is quite rare. Too long didn't read brother from out of town slept on my couch after we went clubbing. BF came home yesterday and got very angry when I told him about it. Edit. Okay. So my boyfriend and I have been texting the past hour or so. He sent me a hey and I was kind of in a pissy mood after he brushed me off last night, so I simply replied with, "Are you ready to talk?" He replied okay, and so I asked him what the deal was with my brother sleeping on the couch. He's not some random guy from a bar. He's not even a guy friend. He's more than that. He's my brother. I grew up with him. There is absolutely no reason for him to worry or freak out in that situation because it's my brother of all people. There is literally nothing threatening in that situation. Not physically towards me or to our relationship. His response, I just am not comfortable with that. I know it's your brother, but I think there are boundaries that should be in place. Why didn't he got back to the friend's place he stayed at on Wednesday and Thursday? My response, you're not answering my question and just telling me what you told me last night. Me. Also, my apartment was closer to the club than his friend's place. We've been together for some time now, and I think that as a couple, it looks bad when you let other guys stay over regardless of who they are to you. I would never do something to you like that, and I think it's only fair that you reciprocate that. It's hard to explain things because I know you can't see them from my perspective. Conted you shouldn't really need other guys so close with you. Why couldn't you just put your brother in a cab and send him on his way just like we'd normally do with all our other friends? Anyway, I have a meeting now, I'll talk to you later. Enjoy your day, babe. Bye. Edit to you, Joseph FH. Everyone, I don't even know how the hell to react right now. This is the first time he's ever acted like this. He's met my brother before and they've always gotten along well. Update. So against better judgment, I did not immediately break up with my boyfriend. I tried convincing myself it was a one-time thing. Maybe he was just having a rough patch and I tried pushing it down. I did tell my brother what happened and he replied saying he'd always thought my boyfriend and him were cool with each other at the very least. He then told me my boyfriend is being nuts and if I need to crash for a few days I could come on up to his end. So the rest of the week remained tense with my boyfriend, but closer to the weekend, it was relaxed-ish. We went on a date, hung out with some friends at a bar together, and yet for the life of me I couldn't figure out reasons for his outburst. So on Sunday I asked him again, "Now that you seem in a better mood, would it be so bad if I asked what was up last week?" And once again mood went from friendly and relaxed to Arctic. He simply asked me if I had to keep bringing up bullshit when we were doing okay again. I got pretty angry at him and told him to leave my apartment. Since Sunday I've been stewing and just looking back at our relationship. Sure, I have my friends, but we hang with them much less. The ones we do hang out with are more his friends and people that he is cool with being with. It was rough, but looking back on it, I started seeing controlling behavior from him that I'd never taken up on due to either just being head over heels and willing to compromise on everything, and by compromise I mean roll over and give up. We talked last night and I gave him an ultimatum. Something I never expected to give in any relationship. Either you sit and try to talk this out with me like a rational person. No bullshit answers and no dodging questions, or we break up. Instead of having a conversation, he broke down and started telling me I was the best thing he's ever had and that he has issues that he can't even begin to explain and that he doesn't want to lose me. Now, I am sorry if this is the part that makes me seem like a beach, but it wasn't the answer I wanted or deserved. Not when I'd been the one rolling over and giving him whatever throughout our entire relationship, so I told him that it was best if we didn't see each other anymore and that he should leave my apartment. He left and spent almost 2 hours just sitting in his car in front of my place before leaving when it was close to 12. So, yeah, we broke up. I admit I feel more saddened than relieved, so I am hoping I don't do something stupid like drunk dial him or call him over because I am lonely or something like that. But yeah, we're not together anymore. It sucks, but it had to be done. Too long didn't read. We broke up after me realizing he'd been subtly controlling from early on and him not taking the one chance I'd given him to talk things out. Third story. Everyone dislikes my 30 male girlfriend 25 female because they think she's stupid. Posting here because I am conflicted. I usually think that if everyone dislikes you, so it's for good reason. I've been dating my girlfriend for around 9 months now and she met my family and friends. While people technically like her, they think that we shouldn't be together because they don't think she's smart enough for me and they see her as a trophy girlfriend. I am divorced. My ex was a smart corporate type person. I usually try not to compare my new GF to her, but she is completely different from my ex. She's a lot of fun, a lot more adventurous and really upbeat. She's great with my son. That said, she isn't that smart. She doesn't follow world news or politics and can't carry on a conversation about any of the topics. She is terrible at math. She's interested in simpler things. She dropped out of college to pursue a career in baking. And she has been really successful in doing so. She owns a bakery with her friend. Her friend manages it and she deals with the day-to-day work. She's done very well for herself, but she has a hard time relating to my family and friends. All of my friends and most of my family are pretty successful. Most of them are highly educated and have interesting jobs. That's not to say that she isn't successful or that she doesn't have an interesting job. She's just completely different from the other people I'm around. There have been lots of comments like it's a good thing she's hot from them, and I always shut them down, but it makes me think they will never respect her. A few people have asked why I even like her. Which is surprising because she is a very likable person. But I think it's because they just can't relate to her at all. Does our relationship stand a chance? No one seems to think so, and it's starting to make me doubt it. I do love her a lot. For what it's worth, I have an insanely stressful job, and I love that when I see her after. She never has anything to complain about, and she is a genuinely good and happy person. Too long didn't read. Friends and family think I need to break up with my girlfriend because she isn't smart enough for me. Hit like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to our channel.